Hello and welcome to Teen New Book Tuesday. I'm Lisa. I'll be your librarian today. Let me get out of this and back to Zoom. There we go. All right, for today's episode, we're going to go over January pre-orders, and our theme is going to be yellow labels and true crime. So yellow labels at Mobile Public Library are mystery, thriller, suspense, and crime focused. But let's get our slides going. Share that so you can see the slide and me. There we go. Tea and New Book Tuesday. All right. For today's tea, I'm having Tazo's organic peach cobbler, which is nice. It has, I don't know, it has a little bit of a different taste. I like it. It's not really strong with the peach. It's sort of like a weird shadow of peach from the background, if that makes any sense. And it probably doesn't. But yeah, it needs sugar though. And it's a black tea. All right, so. And there's a blank page there for some reason. What I'm reading right now is Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. I read Ready Player 1 and enjoyed it back when it came out. I think I've read it twice. And I was a little reticent because some people had said Ready Player 2 is him trying to fix his mistakes, which I can already kind of see. But I'm only third or fourth of the way into it. And so far I'm enjoying it. So we shall see. For our giveaway today, since we're talking about yellow labels, I thought I might as well give away some yellow labels. So I'm giving away these 3 books to 3 people who enter in the comments below. Write, I want to win, and your MPL location that is easiest for you to pick it up at. And I will close that giveaway on Friday at 9 a.m. So let's get into it. Oh wait, the other one thing I wanted to tell you is we are doing drive-in movies. We are starting on Thursday, December 17th. Yes. At 6 p.m., we're going to show Home Alone here at Maine. So all you have to do is come in your car with your family or whoever it is you want to bring with you. You can curl up in the car and watch a movie. It's a nice socially distanced event we're able to do. Okay, let's get into the books. That's why we're here. Starting with the Yellow Label series. And I'm going to focus on the new series. So all of these are book number 1 in their series. Beginning with A Deadly Fortune by Stacy Murphy. This is a historical mystery. They're comparing it to the, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, the Alienist or the Alienist. In this story, Amelia Matthews is an orphan in Gilded Age, New York. She's managed to make a little life for herself and her foster brother by using her psychic abilities. But then she suffers some head trauma and it expands her supernatural abilities, but in demonstrating them in front of a crowd, she gets locked up in an insane asylum. There is a decent doctor in there who comes to realize that she's telling the truth. She's not crazy, and she has these abilities. Together, they start trying to solve a crime that's going on in the asylum. They believe there's a deadly conspiracy at the heart of this thing, and it's possible she could end up the next victim. This is a debut author, so this is the author's first book. So there aren't a lot of early reviews, but Publishers Weekly gave it a star review, which is a good thing. It means it's one of the books they wanted to highlight in that issue. And if you're interested in A Deadly Fortune, it comes out January 5th. All right, Mary Ellis's One for the Road. This is I think this series is going to be called the Bourbon Tour Mysteries. So this is about a travel writer named Jill Curtis who wants to be an investigative reporter, but she's sent to write about Bourbon County, Kentucky, which is an odd sort of tourist destination. She's there to write about why so many people visit that as a tourist destination. She doesn't think much is going to come of this, but once she gets in there, she finds a body in one of the distilleries, and then she gets wrapped up in the mystery. And I think this is actually true. There's a lot of rivalries amongst the bourbon distillers in the area. There are centuries-old family feuds she's dealing with, and she has a potential love interest on the horizon as well. This is considered a cozy. So as I've said before, a cozy mystery is a mystery that isn't going to be gritty or realistic. It might be realistic, but it's going to be, I don't know, a murder that's like less murdery. But it doesn't have any reviews yet because, again, this is, I think, a first-time author. If you're interested in One for the Road, which, by the way, that is a rough title. A lot of things are called that. If you're interested in it, search under Mary Ellis, and it comes out January 5th. Okay, The Broken Spine. As I was writing my notes this morning, I was seriously thinking about how many tangents I could go off when explaining this book. But just focusing on Dorothy St. James's plot. This is about a library in a small town, and the main character is a librarian whose library is turned into a technology center, and her response to this is to rescue the books from recycling and make like a contraband speakeasy kind of library, I think in the same building. When the politician who championed the change from the library to the technology center is killed, and I quote, by a shelf of DVDs falling on him. She's the number one suspect, and it's possible in the course of this, her sort of hidden library will get exposed. I started laughing when I was reading about this because it's sweet that it's about a Southern library, like that's our wheelhouse. Obviously, you guys might be interested, but she's one of those people who doesn't want to throw things away. And there's a whole thing among librarians. There are librarians who want to weed and librarians who just won't. And surprisingly little in between. And I'm a weeding librarian. I feel like our shelves shouldn't have things on it that are no longer, that are out of date. And it's harder with fiction. And to be fair, as a weeding librarian, they don't let me touch fiction. I deal with nonfiction, specifically like medicine and law that really need heavy weeding. But almost every librarian I know has a story about trying to weed books and having some other person, either in the library or in the community, go and pull those books out of a dumpster or out of a recycling bin. And it's kind of, it's kind of exhausting, but yeah. So my reaction to this description was, oh God, she's one of those people who won't weed. She's pulling books out of recycling. I don't know if I can get behind this chick. But if you would like to get behind her, or at least to read about her adventures, The Broken Spine comes out January 19th. Okay, now we're moving to standalone titles. So far as I know, these aren't the beginning of a series. Pickard County Atlas by Chris Harding Thornton is a mystery set in a small town in the Sandhills of Nebraska. The main characters are a sheriff's deputy who seems very bored with this small town where very little happens, and a family. The family's, one of their children was murdered and they've never found the body. And a lot of what is setting off the plot of this book is they choose what seems like a reasonable action and one that might provide them closure, which is they decide to go ahead and put up a headstone and have a memorial and just, embrace that this has happened and they have to move on. But this sends them and the sheriff's deputy on a collision course. It's possible that these whole events will just set the whole town ablaze. It's described as darkly funny and real with a strong sense of place. There are no early reviews, but I'd love to hear what you guys think if you get a chance to read it. And if you'd like to, it comes out January 5th. All right. The Rough Cut by Douglas Corleone. This is about a documentary filmmaker in Hawaii. She wants to make a documentary about a local murder that takes place. The woman who's murdered was a friend of hers. She hasn't spoken to her in some time, and was also the local weather girl. The prime suspect is the local weather girl's boyfriend. When our main character decides to make a documentary about this, she convinces the boyfriend that it will help him overall in his case, but she keeps getting more and more involved. And of course, she's already personally involved because the victim was her friend. But as she does so, it sort of blurs the line and makes it harder for her to expose the truth as a documentary filmmaker. Douglas Corleone is a popular thriller author who's won, several awards. Most of his books hover in the high 3 stars on Goodreads. So if you'd like to check out the rough cut, it comes out January 5th. A lot of things come out January 5th for some reason. But anyway, we shall move on. The House on Vesper Stands by O'Donnell is I think there might be some supernatural element to this one too. It takes place in London in 1893 and begins when a seamstress jumps from a window to commit suicide, and she has a mysterious message stitch on her skin. It's possible that her suicide is connected to a rash of missing girls. The people who are going to investigate this are a London detective, his well-bred sidekick, and a lady reporter who wants to move into bigger stories and away from the Women's Society column that she keeps getting assigned. It's been described as smart and surprisingly hard to put down. The early reviews on Goodreads put it at a solid 3.5 stars. If you're interested in The House on Vesper Sands, it comes out January 12th. All right, Shiver. I think this is another debut. Yep, it's another debut. And this is, they didn't give a lot of description of the events, more about the setup. And I think the setup is kind of the point here. It's about 5 friends who gather in the French Alps, one of whom was a snowboarder. So they have, it's not unusual for them to be in the mountains, but they haven't been together in like 10 years. When an ice-breaking game sort of goes wrong, they realize they don't know who called them all there, and they don't know why that person would have called them all there. This debut has been recommended for fans of Lucy Foley and Lisa Jewell. The early reviews are giving it a solid 4 stars, which is pretty high for a debut novel. And it comes out January 19th. All right, I really like this one. Am I on Shiver? I already did Shiver. We're on If I Disappear by Eliza Jane Brazier. Our main character, Sarah, loves true crime podcasts, but she's convinced that they're preparing her for something. And then her favorite true crime podcast host, Rachel, goes missing, and Sarah believes she needs to be the person to solve the case. It leads her to this ranch in the sort of back country in Northern California, where a number of young women have gone missing. Sarah begins to believe that Rachel was trying to warn her. And yeah, okay. This is not a full debut. The author's written other novels, but they were YA. So this is her debut as an adult novelist. The handful of early reviews are giving it a high 3 stars, and it comes out January 26th. All right, let's get into some true crime and some crime-related nonfiction. We've got Bad Medicine, Catching New York's Deadliest Pill Pusher by Charlotte Bismuth. Bismuth? I don't know. Okay. Being nonfiction, this is, of course, based on an actual case. In 2010, Dr. Stan Lee's corrupt medical clinic was exposed. Apparently, Dr. Lee had been writing prescriptions for like oxycodone and the other opiate medications, pain medications, and exchanging them for cash. He wrote like 70 prescriptions a day or a week? A day, yeah, for years. The resulting trial was massive. Bismuth was involved in the on the district attorney's side, so she has a personal relationship with this case. The book is described as having jaw-dropping details and an important message on the role that doctors play in the opioid epidemic. If you're interested in doctor medicine, bad medicine, it comes out January 19th. Okay. And we shall slow down and breathe. Okay. Blood, powder, and residue. How crime labs translate evidence into proof. By Beth Beschke. Becky? I don't know. Okay. So this is described as a vivid and sometimes harrowing picture into the work of scientists in crime labs. The author went into these crime labs for like 18 months. She got to know the scientists, the processes, and the conflicts that they're dealing with. They're dealing with a lot of people who don't understand the science of what they do and are understandably concerned. I think probably have a lot of experience with being in really awful positions while dealing with the fact that the person they're talking to doesn't understand what they're talking about, particularly in court, like being asked uninformed questions by attorneys, things like that. Yeah, it's focusing on how these people, how these scientists are delivering knowledge in the pursuit of justice. And it comes out January 19th. Yeah, this one is not Goodreads, and I don't really know why, but I don't know. It's on Amazon. Amazon's planning on selling it, so it exists. The Usual Suspect, The Rise and Fall of a Modern Day Outlaw by Ben Michel. So yeah, I do have it in the newsletter, but I don't have it on the Goodreads group. But this is about Stephen Jackery, who was a college student in the UK because he's British. He decided to start robbing banks and giving money to the poor. So he robbed a series of banks over the course of like 6 months, stealing thousands of pounds. He distributed it to the homeless with an RH stamped on it for Robin Hood. This is his story. The author has been given pretty extensive access to talk to him and to see his diaries and things. It's how he decided to do this, how he carried it out, and what ultimately got him caught. If you're interested in The Usual Suspect, it comes out January 19th. All right. Do not forget that I'm giving away yellow labels. If you would like one of these books, put "I want to win" and your MPL location for pickup in the comments below. We have a Goodreads group. I don't have any new reviews on it right now, but if you want to read my review from last week on The Mystery of Mrs. Christie or any further reviews I'm going to write in the future, like for Ready Player 2, you can find them there. Our newsletter, MPL Preorders, has every one of these titles with a link to our catalog so you can put it on hold. So if you want to sign up for that, the link is also below in the description. Next week, you can join me for more January titles. Our final thought from Johnny Marbles: love ruining the plot of Dorian Gray for people. Never gets old. Have a good week, guys. Thanks for watching. Let's stop there. There we go.